Hello there, thanks for watching this video. I hope it finds you in good spirits and that you're having a good day. Okay, I'm going to talk about which is the best truck to buy in this one, a little bit of background about myself and what's been going on today. So hope you like the video. If you like it, please subscribe. See you later, wife. Love you lots. How's it going? Sunday night and I'm clean. Magic. Last night I got a room late afternoon. It was 92 degrees. I've been working during the night, late night, early morning, bit of driving, hard week. Got a lot accomplished, but it was very stressful. I had to keep pushing all week to get done what I wanted to get done by the Friday night. And so I was tired, don't mind telling you. Saturday, I just was supposed to be working with Jeff and I couldn't do it, just tired. And so, got a room, come in here, air conditioning on, cranked it up, laid on top of the bed, got tired, telly on. I love the telly, it's great to watch telly. And so, last night for my dinner, I phoned up Panda, used the app thing, got Panda Express delivered to the room. They do a great thing now because of the coronavirus. You don't even need to see the person. You can have them do a doorstep drop, and in a hotel it's great. They just left it at the door and walked away, and they got a message sent to you saying your food's at the door. No human interaction. When I'm knackered, I just want to do my own thing, be myself, chill out, charge the batteries. So I had my Panda Express, fell asleep, dirty, never showered, woke up this morning and I thought, I'll shower later once I've had my breakfast. Dirty clothes back on, down, slipped in, got my takeaway breakfast and brought it up to the room. Scoffed that down and I had a shower and a shave, each thing separately, in between the adverts of the telly programme I was watching, which was The Godfather, then Godfather 2. 6 hours of some of the best TV that I've ever watched. I'd never watched the Godfather movies until I was back in Scotland there. My wife and I watched Godfather 1 and 2. I sneaked to watch 3. We were supposed to do that together and I forgot, and I watched it one day. I just couldn't wait because they're that good. If you've not watched the Godfathers, shame on you. Get them watched. So that's what I did today, and the first one was going on and I was lying in my bed after my breakfast and my shower, just chilling, and I thought, I'm just going to stay here the night again because I'll plan my week out and get things sorted out on the calendar, what I want to do, what I want to accomplish this week. And so I did that. It went down, gave me the room another night, and they said, okie dokie, stay where you are, and I did. I've not been out the hotel since, and it's Sunday night. However, the Olive Garden keeps coming on the telly and saying, look at this Alfredo sauce, look at these prawns that you eat when your wife's here, come and get me. We've got all you can eat soup with the breadsticks and we've got all that, come and get it. And my fat belly's saying go get it, and my brain that wants to be skinnier is saying go to your bed. So it's a constant battle. Anyway, that's enough rubbish. That's mostly rubbish. A couple of things I want to talk about. One of them is which truck you should buy if you're going to buy a truck. I watched a feed earlier, a live feed, and they were discussing that on there, and I've had a couple of people email me questions about which truck they should buy and what's a good truck and which truck would you recommend and all these type of questions, and they also asked me a bit of background about myself. So quick sum up is born in Scotland, you should be able to tell that, and the other thing is I grew up there. I moved here in my 20s, went back and forward a few times. I went to school, I lived and went to school in a place called Patna in the Doon Valley in the west coast of Scotland in Ayrshire. So that's me from then. Live in Prestwick now, spend a lot of time here driving the truck, living in the trucks, and I've worked in a coal mine, I've worked as a YTSer. The British people will know what that is that are around about my age. You work for £26 a week. Yay. And worked for my dad in a bread and breakfast. And worked in bus garages, 3 different bus garages. I've had my own buses, I've had my own trucks, I've driven trucks in America, I've driven them buses in Scotland, and I've driven coaches in Scotland, I've driven coaches here, and that's about it. That's a quick sum up. That's me. Between my wife and I, we've got 6 kids. We're waiting on, I can't really say how many grandkids on here, but it's a lot. It's double digits. So all good there. And I hope there's loads coming, because there's a boy on here that I was watching his feed, and he's it's a good channel, Cash is King. You should go look at it. If you haven't looked at it yet, my recommendation, have a look. But he's a guy who's a wee bit younger than me, who's in the previous stage of his life with a young family, and I love to see guys with young families out working. I think it's the most honourable thing that a guy can do, is go out and provide for his family. Just a great thing to see somebody do that, to make the bread and take it in there. Great. But he was on there in that blue truck that's in my previous videos here. He was saying, that guy's stage in life, Scottish trucker Tommy's stage, you know, your kids are growing up, and you've got a couple other trucks running, and so if you've got these fleet trucks running, making you some money, then the owner of the company, me, can go out and get himself a W900 Kenworth with 800 brake horsepower on it, because you can afford to do that because your kids are growing up. You're wrong. Because let me tell you, I was making a plan here with my wife for the next 3 months and the next 6 months, and try to come up with what we want to do. And I can tell you, when your kids go away, they usually bring somebody back with them, right? So that adds to the list of people that you have birthdays, and then you go and make more babies and more kids, and then that adds to Christmas, and that adds to. So if you think that when your kids grow up that you're going to be better off, it just doesn't happen. Well, it hasn't for me, because they've got all these grandkids now, and so it's a great position to be in. And I said to my wife last night, and it's probably taken me 52 years to get to this point where I can say this, where I'm glad I'm me. I don't say that with any big headedness that I'm a great super person, but I'm really enjoying my children, my in-laws. They've all got great partners. They've all, the ones that are single are doing great things, moving forward. They've given us grandchildren. I love my relationship with the grandchildren. I just really like being me at this time in my life. My mother's not here, my dad is, and I've got a good relationship with my dad, and yeah, I like being me. 52 years to get to make that statement, and I get to finally say it. So, and I enjoy doing the trucking. I enjoy doing this. But back to the trucks. Which trucks should you have, or should you get? So if you're just starting out, and something you might want to do is, I do this all the time, I make lists. So last week I had lists and could cross the things off as the day goes on. And then the ones that I don't get crossed off, I put it on the next day's list, or else I just think that it's not worth bothering about anymore, because I never bothered about it today. So I make a list and go through my list and get them crossed off on that. And I've heard years ago that a goal not written is only a wish. So if you're thinking that you'd like to have a holiday home in Tenerife, and you don't write it down, and you don't research it, and you don't make plans about it or anything like that, you're just dreaming. You're in fantasy land. If you want to get a truck, you ask questions on YouTube, and ask emails, and ask people around about you, but make a plan. We all come out the same we all come out. We're all born, we've all got the same opportunity, we've all got the same abilities. We don't have the same abilities. Let me restart from here. the next person has got as much chance to write a plan of how they're going to do something as me. I've got as much opportunity to make a plan or figure it out as the next person. So if you want to do this, write it down, make your plan, ask questions, but write it down and keep a note of it. And if when you write something down, you might have a wee sub thing about that, and that will bring up some other things that you want to write down. So I had a good week last week, and I get probably twice as much done because I wrote it down and I remembered it, and I took pride in getting it crossed off. This week coming, because I got this room, I was able to write down and think, right, what am I going to do this week? What do I want to do? What do I need to do? Right, okay, there's that, and then other things start popping into your head, and you make a list of it. And if I don't do that and I just let things drift by and let things happen, you don't do so well. When I was in Scotland, I did all that time off. I was a bit detached. If I'm going to go back for a long time again, I need to rent an office that's out the house, away from the telly, because I'm a junkie, telly junkie. So if I get an office somewhere and make the walls surrounded by truck pictures, get the New York clock and all that, the central time zones, 3 or 4 different clocks, and get so as I walk in the door there, I'm in the zone, this zone I'm in right now, and get my mind into that, and I can go from there. So, because it's very difficult, you're sitting at house and there's some good in the telly and you're thinking, I really need to book a load here for a truck, but I'll watch the next bit, I'll go do the next advert, so I'll stop then, I'll pause it, but it's hard. So, which truck should you get? Do your research, ask the right people. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, right? So if you see somebody in your neighbourhood that is doing really well at it, just copy them. That's it. In Idaho Falls here, probably the most successful truck operator is Doug Andrews Trucking. They've got big sign in the back of their truck, trucking for 80 years celebration. Don't know when that was, but there's a big 80 on it. And they do a good job. They've got running new equipment, and then when it gets to the end of its shelf life, if you can't buy brand new, which you probably can't starting out because you probably can't get the insurance on $170,000 worth of truck, wait till it's 4-year-old and buy that same truck for 40. If you buy it 40 or 50, if you buy it from Doug Andrews' truck sales bit where they dispose of their vehicles, you can buy their trucks at a fourth of the price. Yeah, you don't have the same warranty, and they've had the best out of the truck, but there's still a lot of life left in that truck. So there's no point in going to the south and getting a truck that doesn't have fuel tank heaters in it if you're going to be running up in North Dakota. Doesn't have power dividers on it. It's only a 2-axle, only the back axle's driving the wheels. You just get stuck. Your diesel will freeze. If you're in the south, you need an APU, I would say, because if you're working in Texas and all the way across, you should get an APU, because you need to be able to switch that truck off in the summertime and just burn the APU generator to keep yourself cool, rather than your 15-litre truck engine to keep yourself cool. So find somebody and copy them. If they're doing it, it's obviously worked for 80 years, they're doing something right, and you're just stepping into it thinking, which is the right truck to get? If you're going to haul a reefer, I would suggest that you get a truck that's got a setback front axle, it's got an APU, and it's got a good turning circle. Don't let your ego run away with you and get yourself a big long nose Pete with all the chrome on it, and you're going to get 5 miles to the gallon on a good day because you want to run along across the highway feeling like king of the road. Maybe down the road when you get yourself established, but to play it safe with your first truck, I think, only my opinion, I think that you should get, speak according to Jeff, guy that fixes my trucks, the DD15 Freightliner engine is one of the best engines if you want to have a Freightliner. Personally, I don't like them. I had one years ago, the doors rattled, the drafts come in through it like crazy. Obviously they're well improved since then, but they're a fleet truck and people love them. There's a lot of them out there. You'll get a reasonable price one, but if I was going to buy a fleet truck, I'd probably go for a Volvo or the Pete 579. Those, I've got a good Pete 579 with 13 speed in it. That's another thing, is the transmission that you pick in your truck. If you're going to be running the hills, this is a personal preference. I can control a truck with an 18 speed and a 13 speed a lot better. I wouldn't want to be having an automatic coming across Wyoming in the winter time. I'd rather have, for me as a driver, I'd rather have a 13 speed, simply because with a 13 and an 18 you can split your gears. So if you're thinking of buying a fleet truck and you're going to come up here and run in the mountains in the winter time, it might be a bit of a challenge for you some days. I see people spinning out at times, and I would like to bet that they were in automatics and they've kicked down and it's spun out, and, you know, it's grabbed the next gear down. There's probably ways you can drive them, but there's nothing quite like having your butt in the seat in the right gear, lugging it up a hill, and you know you can split a half a gear and then just go a wee bit slower, and you know, just as you're losing power you can drop it in a little bit rather than drop a full gear and step into it and then you're stuck. So I would get something, if you're running reefer, that you can back into some of these tight docks back in the East Coast and in LA and in some of the bigger cities. They were built when trucks were 38 and 40 feet trailers on them, and some of them haven't changed. You know, little short tractor units with little short trailers, and you get back there. I used to go to places in Jersey, in Trenton, Elizabeth, New Jersey, different places back there, Jersey City, and I ain't kidding you, I had a long-nosed Pete, and I would have given anything to get rid of it at that time because everywhere you went, you didn't have the turning circle, you couldn't get in, you couldn't get out. Yeah, some of them you have to blindside in. If you've got to blindside a Pete in, a long Pete, it's just, it ruins your day. It becomes a nightmare. I've had drivers take my Pete and have to ask the little donkey truck to stick it in the door for them because you just can't get it in. It's physically impossible to get it docked in a, you know. Whereas the Volvo and the Pete 579s that we have, you can get a 587, but in my opinion, only my opinion again, the 587 depreciates more than the 579 because there's no future life for it. A 579 has got a little bit that you can walk through into the sleeper, so it's a separate cab and the sleeper behind it. I'm making funny hands here, so your truck's here and your sleeper's here, whereas your 587, your Cascadia, they're a condo sleeper, which the whole thing, you can't take the sleeper off. 579, 379, you can take the sleeper off of those. W900, same thing, you can take the sleeper off, most of them I think. Don't quote me on the 579, but certainly the Pete 587, 579 and 379 and 389, sleeper comes off those, so people can take them. Jeff does this a lot. You take the sleeper off it. If it's got a long chassis on it, you're okay, but you can extend that chassis, stick a couple of pusher axles under it and make it into a dump truck. And a lot of the dump trucks that are around here used to be over the road trucks with the sleeper removed. So when you get a second use for it and a second life for it, people will pay more money for them. Just to give you an idea, my 379 Pete, the yellow one, that truck, I've done the motor on it, so that's an added value. But that truck is worth more money. It's 15 years old, and I've got two trucks that are 5 years old. The 5-year-olds get better fuel mileage. The Pete has no depreciation. It goes up in value. They're not making any more of them, and I would say that it's probably worth close to double what I paid for it. Whereas the 5-year-old trucks are worth less than that 15-year-old truck. So that's something to bear in mind as well. If you can avoid the East Coast, the Northeast anyway, and we run to Florida, 379 is a great thing to take to Florida for most places, big distribution centres, Atlanta. I've never had an issue in Atlanta. We don't go downtown Atlanta, we go to the big distribution centres round about it. So which truck to buy, they're all good, but what you have to do is get the correct truck for your application. If you're going to be hauling heavy, people have Pete's with the front axle all the way out, 379s. Yeah, a lot of them have that, but see the guys that are making the money, they have the axle set back a little bit, like a 579, but it's popped back, and that lets you get more weight on your front axle if you've got a weight, if you get paid by the ton, so you get more, you make more money. But if you want to look cool, get the 379. You don't have the depreciation. W900, same thing. I would say that I'd like to make a statement that says if you get a 379 and you buy it and you run it for a couple of years and you take care of it, you won't lose any money on it. You might even make some. So some of them will be getting written off, some of them will be getting, very few will be getting scrapped, but they hold their value extremely well. Whereas the Cascadias, and people don't want them, especially the old ones now, because the new model's out and everybody wants to get the new model, and there's so many of them available because they're fleet trucks. If you look at Walmart and these bigger companies that are around them, they're doing it because they're efficient, they make money, but I just don't like them. That's my personal preference. You need to just ask questions and make up your own mind, but write down what you're going to do, write down your TAT, what you want to do, write down what you need, and ask questions that are relevant. There's a blanket question that people say, what's the best truck to buy? Well, depends what you're doing with it. That's exactly it. The taxis that are in London with a really tight turning circle, I wouldn't want to go from London to Glasgow in one of those, but if I was driving one of those in London, I'd want one. Whereas I wouldn't want a great big long chassis car to be doing mini cabin and taxiing in London, because you can't get around as well, but in the long run you get a more comfortable ride. So that's kind of the thing. Figure out what you're going to do, copy who's doing it right. That's the best advice I can give. So thanks for watching, hope this has answered some questions. See you later.